I've written a book about Escobar. So he's a billionaire. His brother Roberto says, "Why don't we just buy our own island, kick back? Cali cartel won't take us out. We won't spend the rest of our lives in prison." Pablo said, "I don't want to just kick back on a deck chair on some island, sipping a cocktail when I'm running this multi-billion-dollar business. I decide which president gets in power." And, we saw what happened to him. He ended up dead. What was motivating you? Power, money, ego, women?
Tommy Shelby, right? Peaky Blinders. He doesn't want to retire either, right? So
No.
you watch that. And the reason why, all joking aside, is because the power is part of it, right? And it's the adrenaline. I'm a big adrenaline junkie, right? The rush of adrenaline, the street brings adrenaline. The boxing gym brings adrenaline. Baseball brought adrenaline. Women bring adrenaline. Fast cars bring adrenaline. That's what we live for.
Yeah.
It's not all about the money. I mean, there's guys that, they sock all their money away. I wasn't one of those guys. Whatever I'm making, I'm spending, I'm enjoying life. You go around once, maybe you get killed tomorrow. You could go to jail for years like I did. I spent about 18 years in and out of prisons. So I look at, enjoy it while you got it, but other people don't. I mean, you could go out of the car, the normal guy, get hit by a car, get sick, and it's the end of your life. So I think a lot of it is, guys from the street, or anyway, not just guys from the street, boxers, guys that they're in sports. It's big race car drivers. It's adrenaline. These guys are like us, like me and like the street guys in a different way, but we like adrenaline rushes. And I think that's what brings us to the not want to retire and go live on an island somewhere.
When you did your prison, was it like, you see, I mean, I still can't believe it was, you'd have your own cell and you'd have your meats and your wines and all that. Was that just in the movies or did that actually happen?
No, I got locked up for bribery and cops in the States. It was a big case. They called it Sperm Gate. And I got friendly with a couple of cops and, slowly worked them. And, their salaries aren't large, so it's not that hard to get to them. And when I worked them from inside, when I left prison, I kept it going to keep some of my, friends going and help, so they can live good. I mean, I had guys like Patrick Jenkins from here. He was in Florida jails with me. He's a UK guy. We're friends for a long time. And although he wasn't involved in some of that stuff, but, he could tell you personally how the state jails work. I'm not sure about the UK prisons. And fortunately, I haven't been here to learn about that. And I got a different life. So, but, you look at was with me in Brazil. It's, those guys where we were in Brazil penitentiaries were torture chambers. But yet we still found our way of ways of bribing cops and surviving.
And getting your own way.
Yeah, and you're still bribing, you're getting meat. I mean, listen, you have your ups and downs. Jail's jail, prison is prison.
Yeah.
Guys are getting killed, guys are getting raped, guys are, getting, there's all kinds of things going on. But at the same time, we never stop hustling and trying to make it easier for ourselves to live.
You make it better yourself. I did 7.5 years in Arizona, day for day. In Arizona, and what I found is just like, if you just not try and go in there and be the big man, just sit back and watch, just do your own thing, get your own hustle on, whatever it may be, You get by, don't you?
Yeah, well, you know what? One of the biggest things you just said is, and there's guys that are selfish, and there's guys that want to have a big mouth, and there's guys aren't humble about doing time, because every jail, anywhere you go, and again, I'll talk about Klaus and who's a good friend of mine from Denmark, and guys that, we were just here for a reunion of guys that were in prison with us in Brazil. What we did was we formed a close-knit of guys.
Yeah.
We stayed together, we worked together, we bribed together, we survived together. If we had to hurt somebody, we did it together. And we try to mind our business and get by, doing our time. But sometimes when you're in situations like we were in Brazil, guys get stabbed, guys get killed, and this is what goes on. And you don't need to go out of your way to find it, because as it is, prison, is a place that's it's dangerous. Today you're alive, tomorrow you're dead. You could catch a new case. So you try to be as humble as you can, quiet as you can, and get along as you can, and make your time as easy as possible.
Exactly, yeah. And you've got gangs telling you what to do, like Young Whites. You've got the Aryan Brotherhood saying, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. Or don't sit on other races' beds and don't do drugs. And yet you see them doing exactly the same thing. So they're hypocrites, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had no respect for that, mate.
No, it's why when we're talking now, or I'm talking to kids, you try to be as realistic as possible so they understand, or just people out there that mothers and fathers that want to get an idea of things they don't understand, so they could speak to their kids about it. You want to be upfront with them and don't be a hypocrite. Just what you said, and just give them the real deal, what goes on, and and how it is, and listen, we were gangsters. I mean, this is what we did. Guys like Terry Sabini, and no matter what, we're friends from country to country. There's nothing much different from the United States to the UK. That bond is from the street is something that is a loyalty thing with our friendship because of not because of organizations, because we're personal friends.
But to keep the bond is good. A lot of people say always stay in touch, but they never do.
No, they don't do, because maybe they're not true friends. When you find true friends, and you get like this, he was a young kid when he met me in the prison system. And people say, why do you guys always talk? Because there's when you're a friend with somebody on the street, 5 years, 10 years, you see him once every week, every 2 weeks, you talk to him here and there. But when you're in jail with a guy and you spend a couple of years with him, breaking bread with him day and night, surviving that situation, because these ain't average penitentiaries in Brazil.
Yeah.
There's a bond like somebody going away to war, where we're saving each other's lives and looking out for each other. And it's an unsaid rule, obviously, if somebody tries to stab me from behind, I know that, Klaus, or, any of these guys, Justin that was there, different guys with us, Tim from Turkey, we stay in touch with another guy, Max. I can go through a lot of names that we're all in touch with each other.
It's good to have that, though. It's good
to have because you can sleep.
You can sleep, can't
because,
you?
In
even
those
if
jails,
you do it in, like, sort of...
Well, in those jails, guys try to hit a guy constantly. So, and I'm not talking about with a little blade. There you got machetes, and there's, pistols in the prison. So, for me to go to sleep easy, I got to know I have the right guys with me.
Yeah.
That's going to look out for me, and they're going to put their life up for me. So we had that
machetes.
situation. Yeah.
Wow. I thought shanks were bad.
So before we get into more details about the Brazil prison experience, what did you get busted for in Brazil?
I actually never got caught with a crime. And this is one of the conversations that people have been asking me, well, how'd you get caught in Brazil? Brazil was asked to every country was looking for me, Interpol. So I was in about 20 countries. I was in Colombia, I was in Venezuela, I was in an army base, Colombia, Cuba, Africa. And as I kept running, eventually I got caught in Brazil by Interpol, and they arrested me on an arrest warrant from the United States.
How did they catch you?
I was on Copacabana Palace in Rio. I was behind there, and they had an Interpol thing to get me, and the army came looking for me in helicopters, and they came with, I don't know how many guys surrounded me, machine guns, Interpol. And
no sense to you.
I looked up,
yeah.
and I was looked up, and I just knew I was done. I watched everybody in all the buildings looking down, and I said, well, this is done. And when they arrested me, I wasn't sure exactly what I was getting arrested for. I got tipped when I was in the States that I was facing a life sentence. I was going to get hit with a RICO racketeering case. But for people to understand the street life, I was betrayed by dozens, maybe 50, 55 guys, 54 guys that were giving information against me. But I never been caught on an audio tape or a videotape or selling drugs or any kind of powder, pills. I never been caught with a weapon, never got caught at a crime scene, at a shooting or a killing. So I never been caught with absolutely nothing to get hit with this life sentence.
We know the feeling on that, though.
So conspiracy.
When they got me, it was just off of testimonies of guys and made guys and different associates of the family, of the Gambino family.
So these made guys have actually done the Omata and actually turned around and said they're going to speak no evil, see no evil, and they actually just talk.
They talk. I said, and that's the problem with these organizations, that people say, well, this guy was a boss, and Joe Messina was a boss of the Bonanno family, and he was wearing a wire, and he was giving up information about guys and giving up information about me and different people, and I could go through that list, which I've done.
Once you lose that, you lose the whole trust, don't you? You understand, if everyone keeps their mouth shut, you're doing all right, aren't you? If no one talks, you're good.
Well, you're not going to get that, and through the history of street. I think we can all name hundreds of guys that were talking, and they try to use me as a scapegoat. I never was caught. And, initially I went on a run, and people say different things, and I'm saying I sat in a penitentiary in Brazil for 2.5 years, trying to survive those jails, which aren't really jails; they're more of a concentration camp, torture chambers, whatever you want to call
Well,
it.
that's a hell of a lot harder than anywhere in America can give you, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I mean, I spent millions on attorneys and investigators, and while I'm spending that money and I'm trying to survive those prisons, Justin and Klaus and these guys are hearing me on telephones, finding out that guys are turning on me, and not just regular guys, but the bosses are meeting with government officials. So I knew the time was up for me, and I was facing an inevitable.
You can't trust your own. Who can you trust?